An ET Now exclusive, Bharti Airtel CEO Sanjay Kapoor believes that the current spectrum pricing is too high and hardly makes any business sense. He says that a hike in tariffs can be expected from the telecom operators in the near future. Let's listen in.
So look, let's get down to the basic premise of spectrum as an ingredient for the survival and thrival of this industry. It's absolutely a foregone conclusion that this is a spectrum-hungry industry and that we will require tons of spectrum to actually put India on the digital map of the world. Even United States of America is worried about the next 500 megahertz of spectrum, and there's no reason why India will not be looking at larger numbers. Given that spectrum is required and at prices that are going to make business cases for serious operators in the long run, of course they'll come and bid for spectrum. This has happened in the past, this will happen in the future. It's very difficult for me, for competitive reasons, to predict what price will do well, but clearly the current prices that were operational in the last auction are not workable is very apparent.
The ministerial panel is expected to decide on how much really the prices could be lowered, but in your sense there were 4 circles where there were absolutely no bidders. Do you think a 30, 40, 50% revision is actually what the industry really needs, and something less than that is going to again fetch a very tepid response?
You know, again, I don't want to get down to exact figures, but there needs to be a drastic downward revision in what was set as the benchmark prices or the hurdle rates. So I would expect a significant reduction over there to draw traction. And those 4 are very vital circles for the growth of the nation and for growth of data as a sector for times to come. So it's very important that we have bidders, that we have right competition, and that we have right activity in those circles.
Ratings agency Fitch came out with a report with a very bearish outlook on telecom. It said that competitive intensity continues in the market and there is inability to really raise tariffs. Do you agree with that?
You know, tariffs as a subject has been raised with all operators in the recent past and even previously. I think devoid of any report, it is very commonsensical to figure out that in a market where most operators are operating at price points which do not even cover their marginal costs, it is not a sustainable business model, and therefore it is absolutely apparent and logical for the market to begin to raise prices. So market will have to have prices that truly reflect the right costs of the industry and also sustainability, so that we are able to invest back into better consumer experience, especially given the data transformation that all of us are faced with.
How soon do you expect that tariffs to go up?
You know, first of all, you should already be seeing in the market that the gross activity has begun to deplete a big time. And therefore you've been seeing negative numbers reported by a large number of operators. The current government policy announced, I think, on the 9th of November has put a further grip on the activation process, and the numbers have slowed down even further. Now what was happening in the market was that these newer customers were coming at a much more discounted price because of the hyper competition. The moment this activity slows down, that mix begins to change, and therefore in design itself the prices should begin to rise. But as consolidation happens, and I think as operators begin to gauge the market, and each one has their own way of gauging the market, I think some bold moves will be made sooner than later.